If you're thinking of applying for disability, or if you've already have applied and are involved in the claims process, then this video is for you, because I'm going to explain how you can make it easy for Social Security workers reviewing your claim to approve your disability. Hello, I'm John Foster. I'm a medical doctor who does Social Security disability exams, and as usual, everything I say reflects my own opinions based on my own experience and study, and not the opinions of the Social Security Administration or any other medical body. Now, to start off, you need to know that Social Security workers are swamped with disability applications. That's why the average time nationwide between the submission of a claim and the approval or denial is 18 months. These folks do not have time to read every page of the hundreds of pages of your medical records in detail. When I do disability exams, people often bring in their records, and they may have a stack 3, 4, 5, 6 inches high of records. It would take someone a year to read every word. Plus, most medical records are not relevant to disability. Doctors in the clinic, hospital, emergency department, operating room are interested in two things. What is the diagnosis? What's causing the person's problem? And what is the treatment? What can I do to help the person with the problem? They're rarely concerned about disability. Therefore, review of medical records often doesn't indicate whether a person is disabled or not. Sometimes it does. For example, if I read a record that says that somebody's had a stroke and their left arm and hand are completely paralyzed, but often they don't. For example, the most common reason people apply for disability is problems with the spine, and the medical records usually indicate that the person has pain and may indicate whether they have nerve damage, but I've never seen a record that indicates how much the person can lift if their lifting is limited by, for example, low back pain. And that's what Social Security wants to know. Also, we now have electronic medical records that are generated by computer. And that's resulted in an enormous increase in the amount of words and records, because in the old days, a doctor had to handwrite their notes, and therefore they tended to only put down what was important. Now doctors can point and click and create reams of paper from a relatively minor problem. As an example, not too long ago, I reviewed an emergency department record that was 6 pages long. And that was only the doctor's record. It didn't include the emergency department nurse's record. And that was 6 pages of doctor's notes, and the person's diagnosis was the common cold. It was completely ridiculous, but that's what we're dealing with today. What you want to do is to make the Social Security person's job easy, and the way you do that is by providing clear, concise, precise information about your disabilities. You want to do this when you're filling out your written disability application, which, by the way, should be typed. I've seen so many that are handwritten and are completely illegible. And if you think that somebody at Social Security is going to spend hours trying to figure out what you wrote down, you're mistaken. And you also want to do this if you're scheduled for a disability exam, what Social Security calls a consultative examination. So, what to do? Number 1, focus on your medical problems, physical and or psychological, that limit your work-related abilities. And the abilities Social Security considers important are the abilities to see, hear, sit, stand, walk, lift, carry, handle objects, speak, travel, understand, remember, concentrate, persist, interact socially, and adapt. And if you're finding this sort of thing interesting, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I generally put out one video a week on Fridays. Leave your problems that don't really affect your ability to work for last. Start with the problem that limits your ability to work the most. As an example, low back pain often limits the ability to sit, stand, walk, lift, and carry. High blood pressure, while it is a medical problem, does not limit the ability to work in 99.9% of cases. In 8 years of doing disability exams, I've seen one person out of the many with high blood pressure where their high blood pressure limited their ability to work. This was a person who had very severe high blood pressure that necessitated trips to the emergency department and even sometimes admission to the hospital. Number 2, explain how each condition limits your ability to work and be specific. Here is something I see over and over in disability applications that is a big mistake. People will say, I can't do blank because of my condition. That provides the Social Security person with zero information. Yet I see it all the time. Explain exactly how each condition limits the ability to work. For example, does pain limit your movement? Do you have numbness that limits your ability to manipulate or stand or walk? Do you have joint stiffness? Do you fatigue easily? Do you get short of breath? Do you get chest pain with exertion? Do you have dizziness and trouble balancing? Do certain circumstances at work provoke severe anxiety attacks, etc.? Don't say, for example, I have a lot of trouble handling objects because of my condition. That's useless. Say, for example, I have a lot of trouble handling objects because I have arthritis in all the fingers of both my hands, and my finger joints are stiff, slow to move, and hurt when I handle things. Number 3, always keep in mind that treatment side effects that limit your ability to work will definitely count towards your disability. Here's another example. A person might say, I take pain medication for my low back pain. It helps with the pain, but it makes me drowsy and forgetful. I have to take it about 3 to 4 days out of the week, and more when I'm having a bad episode of low back pain. Or a person with heart failure might say, I take Lasix for my heart failure. It helps with my leg swelling and shortness of breath, but it makes me have to pee every 30 to 60 minutes. Frequent unscheduled bathroom breaks go a long way towards getting a disability application approved. Number 4, you must be specific if you want to make it easy to have your disability application approved. As an example, you want to say if you can't perform a certain ability at all, or if you can perform it but with difficulty, and how severe that difficulty is. Many times I will see a person say, I can't do heavy lifting. That gives me and the Social Security people no idea of what they can and cannot lift, because heavy lifting is very different for different people. Say, for example, I can't lift more than 15 pounds because it hurts my low back. Or instead of saying I can't walk very far, say I can only walk 150 feet because I get short of breath. Or another example, I can't lift, carry, or handle objects at all with my left arm and hand because they're paralyzed from my stroke. And finally, number 5, don't make outlandish claims. And I see this regularly. One of my favorites is the young men who come in claiming to have terrible musculoskeletal and joint pain, who tell me they can't do almost any physical activities all of the time, when it's obvious to me that they lift weights regularly. I have treated amateur and professional fighters, bodybuilders, and powerlifters. I can easily tell when somebody lifts weights. Well, I hope this has been helpful, and in the description of this video below, I'm going to provide a link to a recent video by Jonathan Ginsberg, a disability attorney. And if you're involved in disability, you should subscribe to his channel. I do. And he has similar advice to mine, but he is talking about what information you should provide to a disability judge if you're having a hearing at administrative law court. Now, always remember, if it happens, it's possible.